Cleo.
Hey, this is Cleo with CleoYogaFinance.com, and welcome back for another episode of Financially Free with Cleo, a show where we shift mindsets with real and raw money conversations with everyday people, empowering you to take action, appreciate the journey, and live the lifestyle you desire financially, mentally, and physically. Today we have a returning guest, the fabulous Stephanie Holt. She is a mother of 3 boys, a notary, and one of my longtime friends. So welcome back to the show, Stephanie. How are
Thank
you
you.
doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited. I've been thinking about this podcast all week. I've been practicing and I'm ready. So let's go.
Yes, I'm excited and I'm glad you took out the time to come back and talk with me. Today, you guys, we're going to be talking about motherhood, different aspects of motherhood and how it relates to money. We're going to be talking about teen motherhood, single motherhood, co-parenting, and just money experiences that we've had as a mother. So we're just going to jump right on in there. So Stephanie, if you can start with just sharing with us, when it comes to, because we both were teen moms, and we've, learned a lot of things over all these years. So let's just start, back to our teen age years. So if you could share with me, what were some things that you learned, when it comes to boys and sex as a teenager?
I wasn't really sat down and taught how to be with boys and what I should do and how I should do it. I just was told stuff as we went along in life, like as we did stuff. We were like, Mama, can I go to my boyfriend's house or something like that, and then they were like, no, what you want to go, you gotta, if you're gonna go, you gotta watch yourself. Don't make sure you don't be let nobody put their hands in your pants, stuff like that. I wasn't really just taught. It wasn't like I had a sit down and it's like, this is what's supposed to happen. It was like, when you brought it up or when your parents seen something, they'll just say, don't you do that, so I was taught that way just as life went on, as the stuff came about. So, that's really all I learned about, and to be specific, I know that my mom, she always pointed out that if you ever have any kids, if you ever get a boyfriend and let somebody get between your legs and you have a child, just at least do me one favor, have one child, one baby daddy, one father. And I was like, okay, Mama, but that's one thing she put out there. Because basically she was saying, I can't control you at all times. So if you go out and you do something, you're on your own with that. So she's just like, but just don't be having no babies by everybody. So that's it. I learned, just the old school teaching. They don't really sit you down like we do our kids now. But they just tell you as you go. Okay, they kind of let you go out and learn on your own.
Yeah. Just figure it on out.
Way. Yeah, that's how I did anyway. I don't know. Everybody's parents weren't like that, but
yeah, I think with me, I didn't get the sit down either. Like, I know nowadays it's like I kind of wished I had like that real sit down to talk about it. But I just remember like one day my mama telling me, don't lose your virginity. And it's just like, that was it. It was just like, don't have sex. So it wasn't no conversations about, okay, because, eventually you're going to have sex. So it wasn't no conversations about, okay, birth control, condoms, being selective with boys that you give it to, stuff like that. I didn't really have that conversation either. So it was kind of like I had on my own like trial and error trying to figure out what to really do. And, I ain't know nothing back then. I guess any teenager, we don't know nothing until we just start, doing stuff. But I did wish I had those conversations. Not this, because I think even as parents, we can talk to our kids, but they still gonna like make their own choices. So I don't feel like if your parents did have the conversation with you that you just would have been this perfect person, because I know people who had both parents in their life and talked to them about stuff, and they
still didn't do it.
Buck wild, wilder than me. So I just kind of feel like just in some kind of way it would have helped, but I didn't have that talk either. So I think that's one of the reasons why, maybe because I did become a teen mom, I just didn't really I was just out there, didn't really know what to do. So I just wish I did have them conversations, but I didn't have to sit down either. So we both got that in common.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I didn't get to sit down. No, and it's just that or that. But I learned the hard way.
Yeah, we did. We learned some hard
She told me a
lessons.
little bit,
So
but I just went on out and tested it myself. So hey, it is what it is.
right. Sometimes that's the way to learn. You just thrown out there. You
Yeah.
just learn to survive, figure it out
So
on your
that's
own.
it. Yeah, that's right.
But at least we took what we experienced and we, learned from it and still
Yeah.
learning today. So
Oh yeah. Don't stop.
all right. So when was that moment that when you first found out that you was like pregnant? Like how did you first feel when you first found out, but when you first even thought that you might be, and then when you actually found out you was, like, how did you feel? And like, were you by yourself or who was you around? And how did you like announce it to people?
Well, I was with my boy's dad. That was my high school sweetheart, and so I I was a major at high school. Let me throw that out there. I was a major at high school, and I had my mind made up. I had my plans for my future, and so it's just that one night that or that one moment where you let somebody not use protection, and you trust each other. You're like, you're gonna, oh, just stop right there before you think it just I already knew in my head that didn't go well, that plan to, but I just was like, no, I ain't pregnant, no, no. But then that when I found out, I just knew that I knew my mom wasn't going. I knew she was gonna say that I had to have it. I had to keep it, and I had to,
Mm-hmm.
because she don't believe in abortion and stuff like that or anything like that. And I wanted to. I had been a majorette since freshman year, and I wanted to be the captain. And if I was hitting my senior year, and I wanted to be a captain, and I was like, "Mom, you gonna let me mess up my senior year, my captain position? All this money you spent in majorette, and all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff that you did, you gonna make me have a child?" She was like, "Now you made yourself have a child." And so I was
Right.
so mad, but I found out with the kid's father, and I was like, let's not tell my mom. Let's figure out how we can get rid, get away with it and get rid of it at the moment, because I don't want it. He was agreeing with me. I'm sorry, he was agreeing with me, but at the same time, he went in there and told my mama that I was pregnant after we had the conversation, like hours later. And it was just like, wow, I'm doomed. Like I'm
Right.
gonna have a child, and everybody seemed so happy about it, but me. And I felt kind of bad, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, everybody's happy and everybody's gonna help, so it ain't gonna be that bad, So
Right.
that's how I found out. Just I didn't come on my cycle, so I didn't go to I was nothing but 17, so I didn't go to a doctor's
Mm-hmm.
office to get checked and to do a pregnancy test. Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't go do all that. So I just knew I was, because I hadn't. I was a teenager. I didn't miss periods, and I know that
Right.
we were what we did. And we,
Yeah.
we trying new things like a fool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Out there
And
exploring.
oh, there you go, big baby bump, and that was it. The end of my high school
Yeah.
career as a majorette.
And you know what? What's crazy is that's like one of those first moments that you realize, how we as mothers, we have to like make sacrifices for our kids and we have to
Yeah,
put like our dreams and goals on hold. That's like your first experience or one of your first experiences of having to, go without something you really like and enjoy because now you a mom now and now the
yes,
kid is first. So it's hard to do that when you just used to it just being you and you can do whatever you want when you want to. And
right.
back then, majorette and the band, that was our life. Like we did
Yeah,
that after school, at
we live
school, on the
for it.
weekends, a weekday, like that's all we did. So
Yeah,
when you have a life, altering experience like getting
that's it.
pregnant, it's like, yes, now you realize, you do love your child, but at the moment, that's the first thing a lot of us as teen moms think about is, abortion. Like, okay, I got to get rid of it
I
because,
gotta get
for
rid of it.
different reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you shared that, because that was some like similar experience for me. It was a little different because when I got pregnant, I this was like toward the end of my senior year, and I
I
pretty much
know.
have finished. For those of you out there, that don't know, me and Stephanie, we went to high school. We knew each other before high school, but in
Yeah.
high school, we were majorettes together. We were supposed to be, on the team captain squad
Yeah.
together our senior year. But for me, when I got pregnant, it was our senior year, but major football season was pretty much at the end, and the only
Oh,
thing
yeah.
that we really had left was the Christmas parade. And I remember me finding out. Well, first when I thought I was pregnant, the first thing I thought was, let me go to Planned Parenthood, and that's where I went to go get a pregnancy test. And then that's when they, gave me all of my options on what I could do next. And that was my first thought, was have an abortion. And I was terrified to tell people. I didn't want nobody to know, because
Yeah.
didn't want people to be judgmental. And like you said, you had things planned out for yourself. I wanted to go out of
Mm-hmm.
state for
Yep.
college. I
For
wanted to go
college.
trial for a majorette team outside of Tennessee. I was ready to go. But
Yeah,
then
me
I
too.
realized, man, this is about to change. And one thing that stood out for me was with the majorette. I remember when I found out I was pregnant, I remember Miss Stallworth, which is our majorette coach back then. I told her that I didn't want to do the Christmas parade. But she was like, "What you mean you don't want to do the Christmas parade?" I
You
didn't.
couldn't
Nobody
get
knew
that
that I was
past this
pregnant,
start work. Uh-uh.
because she was like, "That don't make sense."
That
Like
makes
you, yeah, how we know not how we not want to do something related to
right.
majorette. Like it just didn't
Mm-hmm.
make sense.
She knew we
And I was
loved
like, I just don't. Yeah, I was like, I just didn't want to do. I don't feel like it. She was like, you don't feel like it.
it.
But I couldn't tell her that I was
Yeah.
pregnant. I was so scared. So when I got to Planned Parenthood and found out, I had the same thought about abortion. And then Destiny's father, like, he was on board too. It's kind of crazy how we so close, Stephanie. We have like some similar experiences. How
Yeah.
this was supposed to be a secret from me too, and then he started telling everybody, and
Yeah. They was
I'm just
all
like,
happy about it. Who would have thought?
what is going on? So I just think that, that was the start of us having to realize, okay, now we got to switch some things up and change our life around, because now we got this life
Mm-hmm.
that we have to support, and abortion is not on the table. We got to figure out
Right.
how we're going to raise these kids. So when
Mm-hmm.
you started, preparing, like, going through your pregnancy, and then you had your child, like, how did you and your family like pay for doctor visits and the labor, like, and all of that? Do you remember how you was able to pay for all of that? Because I know it can be expensive, but how did you
Oh, it
first,
was.
yeah.
Well, to be honest, I was still living with my mom, of course, and wasn't planning on moving right away because, first of all, I couldn't afford to. But I always had a job before I found out I was pregnant, so I had a job, and so, but of course, it was part time. It wasn't no money for no mama, and so
Yeah.
I had and so I got a job, and then I got on food stamps. I got, on food stamps. I utilized WIC. I had 10 care, so medical bills, all this stuff was kind of, they was free. And I don't know what I would have been able to do if it wasn't, because I wouldn't have been able, even during my pregnancy, I had to be on 10 care and all that, because I was a child. So it's all that expensive, that stuff is expensive. And so I don't even know
Yeah.
how people that don't get their rent, if it wasn't for that, I don't know how I would have got my child out. But that's when I learned more about government assistance. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know anything, about that. I mean, my mom, of course, she did, but I didn't handle that because I was a child. So I had to go in, and I was becoming a mother. That way, I had to get all the stuff I needed, all the help. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's really how I pay for everything. I mean, my job wouldn't, and if I wasn't staying with my mom and if I wasn't working, my job wouldn't have paid for it. It would have been rough. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I had to, just like I said, I had to get I had to get a full-time job instead of part-time. I had to
Yeah.
shift it on over. It's a whole different lifestyle now, Steph. So
Yeah.
yeah, I had to do that. I had to get a full-time job. I think it was like working in that Vanderbilt, working as a
Yeah.
serving food or whatever. You had to do what you had to do when you had it. So it's like, oh
Yes.
God. So yeah, I had to get a full-time job and working in the kitchen, and it was, yeah, but yeah.
A lot.
It was
Yeah.
not. I'm just thinking about it. I worked some boy, oh boy.
I know. It's like when you start to reflect on like on your first few jobs, you're just like,
Yeah,
man, I'm glad I didn't have to stay there.
that's it.
um, but yeah, it's like I had similar experience as well. I didn't understand about, government assistance, insurance, all of that stuff. Like I knew my mama would, had, food stamps and had some type of government
Hmm.
assistance, but like we wasn't handling all of that stuff. So we didn't really know about it. But once I got pregnant, one of my close friends, his mom told me about, well, she asked me if I had insurance and I said, I
Hmm.
don't think so. And then she said, well, go to DHS, Department of Human Services, and apply for everything and see what
Yeah.
you can get. And that's just what I did. The food stamps, the WIC, the child care assistance, like you
Yes.
said,
Yes.
10 care. So I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket
Right.
necessarily. Not forever, but just for a period of time, I didn't really
Hmm.
have to pay anything because I was young
Hmm.
and a single mom, and that government assistance helped out. Paying for
Yeah.
WIC, the WIC program, the child care vouchers, the 10 care covering the expensive bill. So if I didn't have government assistance at the time,
Right.
I couldn't afford it either because my family didn't have any money to help me. And, the job I was working like, at the children's place, and
Yeah.
I was working at the Rainforest Cafe at Aqua
Hmm.
Mills Mall,
Hmm.
in the little gift shop section. And I had a whole bunch of just random customer service jobs, you know, part time too. But like you
Yeah.
said, then you had to realize this part time, even full time wasn't enough. So we definitely know
It
part
was.
time wasn't gonna cut it. So I was like, oh, I
Right.
got to work full time
Right.
and
Yeah.
try to go to school and stuff. So you start to learn how much stuff really costs. Because sometimes even when you get government assistance, sometimes it still need more. So you
You
still have
still
to
need
spend
more.
your
Yeah.
own
Yeah.
money.
That's right. That's
I
right. Yeah.
remember I didn't breastfeed Destiny. I didn't breastfeed her.
Hmm.
I, bottle fed her. So
Yeah.
I
Me
will have
too.
to buy
Yeah.
Similac. And
Yeah.
sometimes that run out and then you got to pay cash for it. And I was like, woof, if I had to pay all of this in cash,
Goodness.
Destiny would
Yeah.
be starving.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm
It's
thankful for
expensive.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think with government programs, they really do help people
Yes, they
that
do.
really do need it. So I'm
Hmm.
thankful that that was there because if it wasn't there, I don't know where I would
I
be
don't
in the
know what I would
beginning.
do. Yeah.
So it
Me and my
definitely
boys.
helped.
Yeah. They helped us.
And
Yeah.
then like to go back to like that abortion thing, I just wanted to share
Yeah.
this really quick about um how some people are, for or against abortion, and some people are kind of, in the middle,
Hmm.
like, whatever,
Hmm.
it's the woman's choice, things like that. And it's not that I was for it or against it. I
Right.
just
I
didn't know
wasn't
what to
ready.
do.
Yeah. I wasn't ready. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, that's
thankful for
true.
my son now. I am so glad. I thank my mama for saying I couldn't, because he is so amazing. But when you're young,
Yeah.
you're like, hold on, I had something to do. And now I gotta be somebody's mama. But
Uh-huh.
it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy too. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of mad and frustrated at the time that
Yeah. Yeah.
Destiny's father was telling everybody, because I was like, what happened to this secret conversation we just had
Right.
about getting an abortion?
Yeah. When
But
did you get a change of heart, sir? You didn't tell nobody.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but didn't even discuss it with us. So it's
No,
kind
they
of like
just did
you're
what they
kind of
want to do.
forced, yeah, to like,
Yeah.
okay, now we got to plan it. But then now I look back on it, I'm like, wow. Now I'm glad it happened the way it did. But then
Yeah.
I still reflect back. Like there's this document that I have that I'm really going back and forth, Stephanie, if I should like shred it up. But it's the document that
Hmm.
I got when I went to court. Like when I had, at Planned Parenthood, they told me that if you are, because I was 17, she said, well, if you don't want to have the child, you have to have a parent permission to get an abortion in Tennessee. She was like, but
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want your parents to know, a minor can still get an abortion without their parents' knowledge, but you have to go to court and basically tell the judge, explain the situation, and they can decide if they feel like you're mature enough to make your own decision. So that's what I did. I filed
Wow.
this little paperwork, went to court, and on the day that we were supposed to go to court, me and Destiny's father, on the way, we were going back and forth about the quickest way to get there because we was running late. And of course, he decided to go my way, and we ended up getting into this car accident. So I felt like that was a sign already.
Yeah.
We was driving down the street near TSU. Somebody pulled out of a parking lot and hit us. But my first thought was, I got to get to court. It wasn't about, am I okay? The baby okay? Is he okay? The other person in the car
Right.
okay? I ain't thinking about none of y'all. I'm just trying to get downtown so I can go to the court office and
Right.
get this and explain my case so I can get this a judge signature to
Yeah.
get an abortion without my parents' knowledge. And then I realized, back then it wasn't no call an Uber real quick and nothing like that. I had to tell somebody so I could get a ride downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So one of
Right.
my close friends was right up the street and I had to tell him what was going on. And, one thing I really liked was that, he told me, he was like, I don't think you should do this, like go through with the
Mm-hmm.
abortion. But he was like, but I'll take you. And he took me and sat in the courtroom right there with me. And I felt like that's how you have like real friends where,
Yeah.
they'll still support you no matter what's going on.
Right.
But I think after everything, how it all played out, when he started telling people, I was like, okay, now that I'm old, like you said, you thank God for, your oldest son, Corey, and the other two boys too. But it's
Yeah.
like, that was our first child. And then you realize, he was meant to be here for a reason.
That's it.
Now that they're
That's it.
older, you're like, ooh, I couldn't even imagine, we can't even
Couldn't
imagine our
imagine
lives
life
without
without them. Yeah, I know I
them.
can't.
Yeah, so I'm glad that things happened the way it did for both of
Yeah, me
us
too.
because
Mm-hmm.
these kids was meant to be here
To
for
be
a
in.
whole lot of reasons. So I think even though we were teen moms, it doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
that we can't still have a successful story or a happy story,
Absolutely.
with our
Right.
experiences. So yeah, so I'm glad that we still on our motherhood path. So we doing well. We
Yeah.
can't underestimate ourselves. So
I
all
won't. No,
right.
not anymore.
Right. So I want to know from you, Stephanie, like, how did your like mindset change from being a teenager to a teen mom? Because, once we're teenagers, freedom, have anything we want to do, we shift to teen mom, a lot of stuff changed, financially, but just in other areas too. So how do you feel like, and I know we kind of touched on it already, but how do you feel like your mindset changed from free teenage girl to teen mom girl?
Well, to be honest, I I had to start getting so much stuff that I needed that he needed, my son, and what I needed that I couldn't get stuff I wanted no more. So that really
Yeah,
just it turned me into an adult quick. It was like, oh man, I want to get this new phone or this new thing, and I couldn't because I had just spent some money on him some clothes or him some stuff, or birthday parties or stuff like that. And it's like, wow, I can't just this ain't just about me. This ain't just my money. And
yeah,
and I learned how being broke, going broke, not even really broke, just having a budget and like not having money felt like in my pocket because when
yeah,
I was a teenager, I always had money. I was, why let's do this, let's go, this that. But I got to learning after I had my son, and after I had to get stuff we needed. I was like, I knew what it looked like when I said, "Oh, I don't got no money, I can't do it." That's when that came
mm-hmm.
in because you gotta really make a executive decision. Like, should I go here or do I have to? I gotta worry about it. No, I guess I gotta make sure my son needs some Pampers or something. So no, I just won't even risk it. So it's just stuff you just change. It just changed because especially if you're a good parent and you love your kids and you gotta make
Yeah,
sure to eat because yeah. So that's when I learned more about just getting more of my needs and my wants. So than my
yeah.
wants. So yeah, that's
That's a
it.
big one
Really.
for me.
Yeah, that's
Me
it.
too.
Yeah.
Thanks
So
for sharing that because it's like you do have that quick mindset change. Because I know for me back then, I used to always get my little nails done, and
yeah,
I used to always get my my hair done and stuff like either braids or sew in.
yeah,
And then back then I really wasn't into like makeup and get my brows waxed and stuff
yeah.
like
No,
that. I just wasn't
yeah, me
doing that
neither.
yet. But I definitely was getting my hair done, getting my nails done, and I liked shoes. Like I love wearing
Yeah,
Air Maxes. I wasn't really a Jordan girl, but I liked Air Maxes.
yeah,
And once I started realizing I couldn't get that little stuff, and I was just like, kind of feeling like sad. Like it's kind of crazy how
yeah,
you kind of like little childish little stuff you used to be
yeah.
like missing that you realize now. It's not a big
It
deal
ain't
because
even.
I don't be
Mm-hmm.
shopping for clothes like that like I used to.
Right.
But as a teenager, you know, you making that transition real early, and that's hard. Like when I look back on it, I was like, that's a lot to deal with as a teenager. You
It
know, you going
is.
from high school to like, adult world, and you a teen mom. You already still growing up. You dealing with all these
Yeah.
emotions
Yeah.
and just all these different feelings and stuff. So it's like
Hmm.
I think we don't even realize how much pressure was really on us back then.
Right. Yeah. It was a big deal, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. So another thing I want to know is like, what do you feel is one of your like most memorable moments as a parent?
The most memorable is literally just having my boys in sports, just playing
Mm-hmm.
sports, spending money on sports. Just it gave us something to do, wake up to every day. It made them tough. It just was fun. It was family time. It was just good stuff. It was just exciting.
Yeah.
You meet new people, you network with people. You just meet other families. You grow bonds with them forever. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
that was a good moment for me. Just them being in sports and them keeping me active and keeping themselves active and staying out of trouble. And
Right.
did you say a bad one as well, or did you say good? You said good and bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so for bad, as far as financially, I just as I think about it, I'm like throughout all these years, I spent a lot of extra unnecessary money on Christmas gifts,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't.
Yeah.
And as you grow up and you get older, like wise, you think I wasn't. I was getting my kids gifts, I was making them happy and going all out with some, but some of that stuff we do, us people too, and so I'm going to tell my story. Is a victim of trying to impress other people on
Yeah.
how many gifts is under them trees and how much expensive gifts and all that, and you going broke
Uh-huh.
trying to get it. So I wish I never did a lot of that. It wasn't even necessary. A lot of stuff went to the trash. A lot of stuff was just uncalled for. And so, yeah, that's most memorable. If I can tell anybody now, right now, that's got fresh new kids, fresh babies, and young mothers that don't know it better, just get what you can for Christmas. Get them. They don't want much like that. Like it ain't. It's not that serious. So get what they really
Yeah.
want. Don't go buy up a whole lot of stuff. Just have tree stuff under your tree and impress other people because they ain't helping you buy them. So
Whew.
hey, and those
That's
bills that you're
true.
missing because of these people too, it's not worth it. They're not gonna help you pay your bill either. So just do what you can. Don't live outside of your means. Spend your money that you get, or don't buy it. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
have it, don't buy it. So yeah, that's my
Yeah,
thought.
I agree. I feel you on the Christmas gifts, and it's a perfect time to mention that too, since it is, the holiday
Yeah,
season, people buying gifts and stuff. And I used to feel the same way when I was younger, and Destiny was younger, because I kind of felt like, you know, if you only got like two gifts under the tree, but you see people showing they got 100 gifts under the tree,
yeah,
you start to feel. Well, I know for me personally, I started to feel like less than, like not a good mom because I didn't get Destiny, a whole bunch of stuff. And then times where
exactly.
I was able to get a whole bunch of stuff, I felt better because I was like, oh, I got all this stuff. But honestly, like you said, like get the stuff that they really want. Like once they start opening the gifts, you start to notice the stuff they really, really wanted
Yeah,
anyway. So it's
yeah.
not really about the number of gifts. It's about, did you get what they really wanted? Sometimes
Did
they
you
just
get what
want
they
one
asked for?
thing,
Exactly.
Sometimes it's one thing or two things. And I think, like when you said trying to impress other people, sometimes it's hard for people to admit that because we don't want to act like we care what other people think. But I've experienced that too. Where I've tried to impress other people, and then you realize a lot of us trying to impress each other, and we all just going broke trying to impress each other. And it's
Trying to impress
like,
each other. Yeah.
is it really worth doing all
No,
of this?
it's not.
You
I
start to
don't think so.
realize,
But some people keep doing what you do. If you can afford it, then that more power to
right?
you. But
Yeah.
I know some people don't let other people intimidate you and make you feel less of a parent and all that because you can't afford what they can afford for their kids. It's not that serious. So
Yeah.
it
And I
just it
think,
just doesn't, especially when you got other stuff you need to be doing. It's
hmm
just not worth it. It's just to set you back a little bit. That's it.
yeah. And I think more parents, more of us mothers, need to be more supportive, with other
Hmm.
mothers because I think a lot of times, like, you know how you used to be like in high school and you have like different cliques and some people think they're
Hmm.
better than other people. And it's like you have people in adult life, you know, they still
Yeah,
have certain
they
cliques
still
and
do
stuff
that.
like
Yeah.
that. And it's like that with being a parent and mothers. And sometimes kids want to, especially nowadays with social media, people want, you know, post certain things about their
Yeah.
kids, or I feel like some people are genuine and want to be supportive toward their kids and other people's kids, and you got some people that do just want to show off. And
Right.
like you said, like if people can afford to buy lots of gifts for their kids, then that's totally fine, because you know everyone isn't struggling or, you know, unable to do that. Some people got the money to do it, and
Yeah.
but this is for people who know they really don't have it, but feel the need to buy all these things to impress their kids or
Hmm.
impress or make themselves feel better. I know I struggle with that when I used to feel like, oh, I got to get all these gifts. But now I
Yeah.
realize it's not about the gifts. You know, now it's
It's
like
not.
quality time is important. Yeah, we want nice things, but at the same
Right.
time, there are other things that's like more important, you know, quality time that you spend with people, and,
Hmm.
you know, having conversations and just the simple things that we think is not important is what's most important. I think this year
Yeah.
a lot of us realize that now that
Yes.
we haven't been going
2020.
places or buying stuff, like even just having more conversations with certain people, I'm just like,
Yeah.
this just feels better just talking. Like,
It
even when I have
does.
my conversations with you and Darnell, I'm like, these is priceless, just having our conversations
Yeah.
versus spending money doing stuff. Yeah, like we like to do
Yeah.
stuff and buy things, but I think it's helpful for us to teach our kids that it's not all about money and buying this and buying that. Like, there's
No.
other things that you got to make sure, you got to have a balance, you know. And I think
Right.
once we realize that, it helps us to teach our kids not to grow up and feel like they gotta spend money to
Absolutely.
impress
Yeah.
people. Because I think kids with social media nowadays,
Hmm.
some kids feel different if they don't have a car yet, or if they don't have these shoes and stuff like
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
I think that's other conversations we got to have with our kids
Yeah.
about money.
We got to come back to that one, another podcast for that.
Right, right, most definitely. Okay, so I want to know, like, what do you wish you would have known financially before you became a mom? I know there's a lot of stuff that we may wish we would have known before we became a mom when it comes to money. But what's one thing that you may not have mentioned yet that you felt like um, you wish you would have known before you became a mom?
I honestly would have wished that I'd have known how expensive childcare was,
Ooh,
and how expensive childcare was, and how hard, yeah, how hard it is to find some people to watch your kids, and how expensive it is. It played a part throughout the whole parenting
oh
of the
yes,
young. Childcare was so expensive. I couldn't wait till they became older to watch themselves. So I mean, that's one thing. You said you asked and came right. This expensive. It's expensive. If you want to ask
yes.
me about kids, what do you think? What if you just say, give me one word? What do you think when you hear having kids? I'm gonna say expensive. That's what you're gonna get from me. They're expensive. So point blank period. That's
Yep.
it. They're expensive. You heard it from Stephanie. That's that on that. But I love them. You gotta love them.
Yes.
That's that on
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh. I remember when I first had Destiny, my mom and my sister, Angela and Frida, would help me like watch her while I went to school and work.
Mhm.
But you know, after a period of time, they wasn't available like that, so I had to put her in childcare. But
Yeah.
at first, you know, I had some help with like the childcare vouchers. But when I wasn't
Mhm.
eligible to get those anymore, then you start to
Exactly.
see like, now I see how people feel when you be feeling like, darn, it's so disrespectful to be charging $200 a week, $100 a
Yes.
week for child care. And I
I
know
even
even
listen.
now,
Not to cut you off. I even started
I know
working
it's
at a
good.
daycare just so I could get the benefit of my son going for free. That's how
Yes.
desperate you got. It's just how it
Mm-hmm.
is. You gotta pay people to
Yes.
watch your kids. That's just that on that.
Yeah. Because you can't do nothing. Like
You
at a
can't
certain
do
age, you can't
nothing.
just
You're
leave them
gonna
at
have to watch your
home.
child. Yeah, you're responsible for that. So you gotta. So the money you making, you paying it out to somebody to watch them. Why you gonna make it? I'm telling you, it's expensive. I ain't saying expensive no more today.
Yes, and I get it. I know childcare workers, childcare people, I know they got some difficult jobs. They deal with a whole lot of kids,
Yeah,
even school
yeah.
teachers. I know they got some difficult jobs. So I'm not saying that they not worth it, because I know they do a lot. But at the same time, I just be like,
Hmm.
oh my goodness, why is it so expensive? But yeah, I feel you with that one. At this point, when now the Destiny is 17, I just be like, I'm so happy that she can be at home by herself.
Yeah.
I don't have to have
It
somebody
feels
stay at home
so
and watch
good.
her.
It feels so good.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
when she was younger, like you said, you couldn't wait till they got older that they could watch themselves. I know when I was younger, and I think a lot of us experienced this, where our parents left us at home while we
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
under whatever the legal age where, oh,
Yeah.
this is the age where you can really leave a child home by themselves.
Hmm.
A lot of us was at the house young by ourselves or with our
Yeah.
other siblings,
And you better not told
because
nobody. You better had to ran and came back. But
yeah,
don't tell. You can't even tell your parents because they'll weigh you out. Don't you leave them kids. But when you gotta run to the store and they need some pampers, and then and they sleep, you gotta kind of you might. But I don't recommend it. Don't put that out
right.
there. But it's just desperate time, desperate measures. You do it when you're a parent, man. It happens.
Got to do what you got to do
You got
sometimes, and
to.
I think
I'm sorry. I
if
just
you
gotta get
never,
to you real.
and if you're not a parent, then you might not relate or understand it. But
Yeah,
if
so
you're a
don't
parent
come back
and
at us with that because we just saying what we did and what we know from experience or whatever.
right, if you're not a parent, or if you're not a parent that had your kids full time
By
at
yourself.
any point period, then you can relate, because
Yeah,
sometimes you
yeah,
just got to
yeah.
do what you got to do. But I'm
Gotta do what you
glad
gotta
that
do.
we
They're still
made the
alive and
best
well and
decisions.
mannerable. Okay, I just
Right,
want to throw that
right.
out there.
They still doing just fine.
Yep, sure is.
Nobody was neglected.
Nope, not
They
one.
still doing fine. So yeah, yeah, and I'm just glad that we can look back on stuff and laugh about it, but we know that's just how it is being parents.
Yeah,
Being a mom, like some stuff you just got to do that some people may be like, why would you do that? Look, lady, man,
right.
girl,
You don't
whatever.
know
Like
my
this is
situation. You got to. You don't. That's
right.
the thing. You don't know people's situation, so you have to just stop judging and stop worrying
Yeah,
about people's business. But so yeah.
that's true. All right. So I want to know, like, with your boys now, so just thinking about, your experiences as a teen mom, like, how do you have conversations with your boy? You have three handsome young
Thank
boys.
you, friend.
So in respectful, talented, educated, they're great. You done a great job with raising them. But
Thank
we
you.
know we gotta have you're welcome. But we gotta have these conversations with our kids. So like when it comes to sex and teen pregnancy, like and how like financial impacts,
Mhm.
things that can change your life financially when it comes to sex and teen pregnancy, like how do you have those conversations with your boys, and how do they respond to it?
Well, to be honest, I like to be just upfront with them and just I don't try to leave too much out playing all that because first of all I have all boys and then I was raised by parents like that. You know my parents, my mom, and my dad, they just raw and uncut. They tell it like it is. They ain't no filter, none of that. So, but I
Yeah.
give my kids just a little bit of filter, but not really. So, but I like to be just up close. Just tell them like, listen, you're gonna go out, you're gonna do things. You're human. You're handsome. You're good looking. And you're gonna be attracted, and it's just gonna happen. But so I didn't want to put out there to just not have sex at all. That's just not gonna happen. And then as long as it wasn't too early, But I just wanted them to know how crucial it was to stay protected and just not to get them pregnant, get anybody pregnant. And with that being said, when I said, because some people could say stuff, don't do that, but they don't give you a reasoning behind it. These new kids, they got to have reasoning behind it if you're going to give it to them. So for me, I just was like, listen, because you don't want to go in and don't use no protection. I said, it ain't just for babies, it's for diseases. You don't want them. You can't get rid of something you don't want to get, nothing you can't get rid of. Then I would tell them about, just with the kids, just, having a baby and having kids right now. It's like, I say, and I use myself as an example. I'm not ashamed of that. They know. I say, listen, look what happened to me. It just things come a little bit. You got to wait a little bit longer when you have kids. You kind of got to put them first. Everything got to be put on the back burner, and then I
Yeah.
say, um, I'm not saying that y'all were mistakes and y'all would, but kids are expensive. It just give your life a detour, and if you can avoid it, then just avoid it for right now. It's not no rush. So
Yes.
I pretty much give the boys just the real proof, real life. I try not to give advice I don't know too much about, but I know what it'll do for you. And then so as time goes, and I even give my niece and my nephews, them advice
Yeah.
too. And I tell my niece, and the reason why I brought her up because on the girl version of it, it's just like, and I've scared her to death for even having a child. And it was crazy because I was pointing to her, telling her more about not having children because of the financial aspects of it and the dream, you have to set those aside. But it's crazy because my mom told me my niece, she doesn't want to have kids to this day because she wasn't listening to me saying the financial part of she listened to me always having pain with my C-section. I had two of them.
Oh,
And I was telling, oh, these
yeah.
must still hurt. She was like, darn, Austin is 14 now. Why you still? I was like, it still hurt. You just talking in general. And come to find out, my mom was like, this girl don't have kids. You done said the C-section.
She
And
was
I
like,
think
I'm not
myself,
trying to be in pain.
I wasn't talking about no C-section, but they do hurt. But anyway, I ain't,
Yeah.
it ain't funny about it. She might not even have a C-section, but it's just talking
Yeah.
to them and just giving it real and raw and just talking to kids and just telling them life stories, whether or not they interact with you or they seem like they listen, they are. They
Yeah.
listen. They
I
might not
know.
be interacting. Okay, they be like, well, you know how they do. They sensational. So the whole time they done heard everything you done said, but they just
Right.
different, and you got to just kind of. But yeah, it's just I just try to tell them the when I tell people the kids stuff and try to give them, I want to tell you why I'm saying it. This ain't just the
Right.
parenting talk or just the thing. Oh, that's the thing to say. No, I ain't that person. I'm tell you why.
Right.
And then you can turn. I even tell my boy sometimes too. I say, listen, do you can I afford you right now? Can I afford you this? Well, now so I said, so if you have a child, I can't afford it definitely. So you're really gonna be screwed. So I'm just saying,
Right.
you got to tell them that. And so then when they leave off, you're gonna leave something in their mind like.
Mm.
Yeah, no, she can't even buy me no jewels. I darn sure ain't gonna pop no child. I just will hope so.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I
I,
just tell them like it is, just real raw, just out, put it out there. From what I
yeah.
know, from my version of it, it don't mean it's right, but
Right.
if it works, it works.
I feel like that's
I
the
went
best
down
way to
through it.
be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best way to be because I feel like saying don't have sex, be abstinent, that just don't work.
No, it doesn't.
Because you already know, we know how teenagers are because we were.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that, teenagers can't, wait till later, but it's like nowadays you have to do more than just say don't do it. Like you gotta
Yeah.
have deeper conversations. And you write about that, them kind of acting like they ain't listening, but darn well
Yeah,
they
he's
they
listening to me.
listening. You just hope that they kind of like, take your advice and try to
Yeah.
make the best decisions when they're in those situations. But I feel like I wish I would have had a little bit more conversations when I was younger. Not saying that would have helped me not, have sex when
Yeah.
I did, when I started, but I feel like even with my daughter, I feel like it's kind of, I'm trying to make sure I'm being more vocal and talkative about it so she can feel comfortable come to me asking me questions or talking about stuff. But I know that's still
Right.
not easy because hell, I was scared to say, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
tell my mom I was pregnant. I couldn't even get the words out.
And
Took me
even though my
forever.
mom was hella nice, she was a good, nice lady. She was happy about it. I wasn't. I could have told. I still felt bad about it. I felt like a disappointment, especially the fact that I could have asked her and told her so she could have gave me protection, or I could have got a birth control.
Yeah.
But I kept saying, "No, I'm a virgin." I just wanted to be the good young, the good girl, the little sister. I mean, I lost my virginity before my sister, and God bless her, so she's deceased. But she lost her virginity. I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, I done failed them all. Everybody gonna be mad.
Right. That's how we
Everybody,
felt. That's how you
yeah."
felt.
I just felt like a disappointment, and I didn't like that feeling. So yeah,
Yeah. It's like, I think that's why I feel like we had so much going on in our minds back then. Like how you said you felt like you would disappoint people, and everybody probably looked at you as this
Yep.
sweet young innocent Steph, and then it's like as soon as they found out you're pregnant, everybody started talking, and you'd
Still
be
in high
like,
school, like, she ain't out. Which, but I didn't. But that's what I made up for myself, especially with my grandmother. She took it all the way wrong. Oh Lord, but yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, just certain people, they had this life they picture for you. But that's the thing, you can't predict, like you don't know what'll happen. It just don't. I for one didn't even want
yeah,
kids. Didn't
right.
babysit people kids. Didn't want them in my room. Didn't like them.
Mm-mm.
And here
Ooh,
goes Steph to probably 3 kids later on in life. I kept saying, I don't like kids. I don't want them. Just so yeah.
girl. I'm so that's so funny, Steph, that you said you didn't even like kids and like to babysit them. Every time my one of my older sisters on my dad's side, when my other nieces and nephews would come over, Angela, my older sister, she would be the one changing diapers and feeding them and stuff. I ain't trying to do none of that.
No,
Yeah, I would play with
I would
them,
lock
but when
my
it comes
door.
time to,
I
see,
didn't
she was
want them
like,
to come
I
in
ain't trying to have
because
no
it was just my
contact.
mom watched everybody neighborhood kids. She just would let
Right.
everybody just they bouncing off the wall. I said, oh no, I gotta get out of here. So I didn't want none of them kids. They
Yeah.
made me not want kids. So yeah, I don't
Yeah, it's like
know.
when you deal with neighborhood kids or kids in the family, like I wasn't trying to take care of nobody. I'll play a little bit, but I wasn't trying to be around and take care of no kids either. But when it's your own child, now it's
Yeah, it's
like
different.
you can't just lock your door and put them out.
Nope, can't do it. Can't even get no sleep. None of that.
No, not at
Just
all.
gotta
So it's
just
kind of like it
voila,
gives you
your
that
mother.
confirmation. Yeah, it's like now it's like this is your kid. Like you can't just, take a little break when you want to.
Hmm.
But I think it just helps remind us that it's just all the decisions that we make as moms and all the sacrifices. And I think now that we're older, we just want to do the best that we can like for our kids. So like when I talk to Destiny about sex and stuff, of course she's like, ready to walk out the room because she's like, now I want to talk about it. But I try to tell her, like, when when you're a teen mom, it's like don't have the freedom. When you graduate, if you want to go to college,
Right.
it's like when I went to college, but I didn't really get to experience college like I wanted to. Like, I wanted to be on dance teams in college, and I wanted to pledge a sorority, and I wanted to
Yeah, me
be
too.
on the yard in school, at all the little college day parties, night parties, weekend parties. Like,
Yes,
I
yes.
wanted to do all of that stuff. And then, you got friends or they traveling, going to Vegas and Miami and
Man,
stuff. And
everybody. Oh, it just broke my
I couldn't do,
heart.
yeah. And it's
Ah,
like, then you feel left out. Like now it's
yeah,
like, oh, I love my child. But like, darn, I'm trying to go on this trip with
that's
my friends,
it.
but I can't.
Yeah, like what?
So,
And it was, yeah. It just took away a lot of the things that I thought I wanted. I mean, I don't know if it would either paid off later. If it would have been that was my calling or whatever I was supposed to be doing. I just know that I wanted to
right.
do it,
Yeah.
and I just didn't get to. And yeah,
Yeah.
so now that's why now I try to just live and enjoy life with them and with my, and just enjoy this more freedom that I have, to
Yeah.
grow as a person, as a mother, and then just to be better now that they done got older and all
Yeah.
those hurdles that was in the way. They coming down a little bit. So you kind of
Yeah.
just got to make the best of it now. But
Right.
this is just something to just help people, that got babies on the way that's young, or either that even thinking about it. I don't know what age is too young or really, because I mean, we of course, yeah, we straight out of high school, that's young, in high school, but even after that, I speak with some people and they say they had their first child at 20, 21, 20, my sister had at 21. And you be like, oh, that ain't bad. That's still young mind. Ain't nobody, you never really just ready to be a parent. I don't really care how old you are, really.
Right. Yeah.
But if you just if you can't really, if you want to put in your head, if you can't take care of yourself, you don't need no child.
That's true.
That means you're too young. That's
Uh-huh.
my thing.
That is true. It's not always about the age, but about, your habits and your mindset. And yeah, if you
Yeah, your
struggling to just take
maturity.
care of
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
it can be a
yeah.
lot for
Right.
you to take care of you and another person.
That's
And
right.
I think another thing I wanted to just share really quick was when I was like, just kind of like throughout my life, I would hear people say certain things about like, you know, how we're kind of having this conversation now. We talk about things that we kind of felt like we missed out on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like a job I had years ago where this lady was saying how, you know, it's selfish of mothers to say they missed out on stuff because of the
Yeah,
kids. And I was like, and sometimes people don't get it. Like, you don't know people's story or people's situations, but I feel like as mothers, we just have too much pressure on us. And like, it's
yeah.
okay for us to be vocal and say, hey, I feel like I missed this opportunity. Yes, I love my kids, but I have the freedom and the right to
Right.
talk about my experiences the way I experienced them.
Yeah,
Maybe you don't feel like you missed out on something, but just because I feel like I missed out on something doesn't mean I'm being selfish. But you're just sharing your experiences. And just like when I talk to my daughter, I'm like, I know you want to be on the go and do things. So I'm like, hey, if this is what you want to do and you want to start having sex, you need to get on birth control, or you need to learn how to do the natural version of the birth
yeah,
control, or you need to
yeah,
learn how to use condoms because, like you said, not just pregnancy, but diseases too. So I
yeah,
just like to use my experiences to say, hey, I love you, but I probably would have wanted to have you a little late on in life.
yeah, yeah. You
you
can't fault
know?
me for that. It's just stuff I
Yeah.
had in my mind. I mean, I'm just gonna tell. I don't like to lie to my kids, like So if I'm not gonna say, "Oh, it was just a joy," because you putting false hope in it. That's what would lead them to do something they're not supposed to do. Because you're not every. That's the problem. Even with just social media stuff, period, they making everything just seem happy and so good, and it's bad stuff behind. You can't. We're not finna act like it's just everything is just so peachy and cream and it's nice and it's smooth sailing. It wasn't for some people. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for you. You can't get mad
Yeah.
at me. And I'm gonna tell my
Yeah.
son that. I'm gonna tell him what's real. And I'm
Right.
gonna tell him
Yeah.
at the same time, yeah, I didn't mean to have you early. Didn't want to. I'm gonna be honest with you. But if somebody, it's nothing. I can't live without you right now. I love you to death. In the same sentence.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing nobody can do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my son know my love for him. He know what's real. He know. And so that's why I be trying.
Yes.
I don't really worry about what people say because it's like, yeah, I tell him the
Yeah.
same sentence. I didn't want you. I didn't want to have no child that early. You came too soon, son. And at the same sense, boy, you better not leave this house. I don't know what I would do if you leave me. That's just that on that.
Yes. Right. And they understand that. That's why
Yeah,
I
they
love
do.
how they older now so they get it. But I think, a lot of times some parents feel, kind of hesitant to share certain stuff because of what other people may say or think, but forget that. Talk about share your truth, your story. And as long as you're being real, I feel like that's the best thing we can do because we can't be worried about what other people may say or how they'll judge us as a mom.
Right.
Nobody's a perfect mom. There ain't no perfect mother at all. And we don't
No.
have like this handbook. Even if it was a handbook, like who's to say that handbook is telling you that's the way to be a mom? It's like so
Right.
many different experiences out there. And I just feel like all we can do is just do the best we can and just do the best we can with teaching our kids right from wrong and how to do better financially so they could, do better early on quicker
Yeah.
than we did. And I already know with conversations I've had with you about, your sons, like they're already in that mindset of, what they want to do with their lives beyond
Yeah.
high school and things like that. So
Yeah.
you already on the right track because their mindset is just on a more mature level
Yeah.
than a
Thank
lot of some of
God.
these other kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So kudos to you, girl, because
Thank you.
you doing it. You doing it, Steph. Like you really
Thanks for
are.
real,
Because
Cleo. Thank you.
I just got
I'm
I just
serious. I
got
appreciate that.
one. I just got one, and I'll be thinking if I had two other ones. Whew.
Man, it ain't nothing but
So
God.
you,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. That's it.
So I just want you to know, don't, not saying you do underestimate yourself, but just reminding you to never do because you are very, very strong and
Thanks,
you
man.
are doing a great job with everything else that's on your plate. So
Thank you.
you are doing a great job as a mom. So you one of the best moms I have known in my
Oh
life. So
wow. Thank you. Oh
yes,
man.
you are
Don't
on
you do
that.
that.
You on that
I'm
top
up
mom
out.
level.
Okay. I'll take that.
Yes.
Thank you.
You so crazy.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, so okay, so the next one is like and this is like one of the last ones here. So
Okay.
we're going to talk about, lessons learned. And I know we've shared a lot of them with everyone, but I just want to know, as of right now, as of today, what's the number one lesson you learned from being a mom?
You can love somebody outside more than yourself. Like and it's okay. Like that's yeah, your kids. What
Yeah.
type of love I have with my kids. I don't know about everybody else, but that's the lesson. It's like, wow, you never thought that you can love somebody more than love yourself or your own. Like you throw your life on the line for them. I would for my kids any day. I can't.
Right.
I have to go before them because I lose them.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
Yes.
the lesson. I don't know if that was a good lesson, but whatever. That's what I
Oh
came up with.
no, it's your lesson, and it's
Yeah.
going to help somebody else out there that may be in a similar situation. So it doesn't have to be a good or bad. It's your lesson, girl. Because
Okay.
hey,
Cool.
every lesson is a good lesson learned for somebody else to use,
Yeah.
like in their life. I know
Hmm.
for me, like one of my number one lesson is just being not knowing not to I don't have to be perfect. I think as a mom, I just used to, and even still nowadays, I've, like struggle with that. Like sometimes I'll do something and I feel like, ooh, I didn't really do it good enough. Then I have to catch myself, be like, no, I did just
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be perfect. And, I'm still learning as I'm going. So that's one of my number one lessons is reminding yourself that you're not perfect and you're not meant to be. And
Right.
you just
Yeah.
have to do the best that you can with what you have
What
available
you
in
have.
front of
Yeah.
you, and just hope that your kids listen to you, which we know they are, but we just hoping that they remember what we teach them when they're in these situations,
Right.
so they can make the best decision, because that's
Yeah.
all we can do at the end of the day, is that you did the best that you could. I remember this Medea movie. I know I'm using Medea as a reference, but
It is what it is.
I think it was Big Happy Family, where Medea said, um, she was basically saying how us parents, we feel like, we got to do all these things. But she was like, you know what? All you got to do is the best that you could to raise
Hmm.
them, get them out the house, and you can't be worried and stressed about them once they become adults and stuff. Like you just gotta know that you did the best that you could to raise them, and now they out on their own. So you allow the kids to, like, stress you out, things like
Hmm.
that. So that just reminded me that I just got to do the best that I can. So at the
Right.
end of the day, I just know I did my best. And once you
Yeah.
out there in the world, you'll make your own decisions. But I know I did the best with what I could do,
Yeah.
with what I
What
had.
you could do. Yeah. That's it. That's good.
Yes. All right. So last one here is, I want to know, what advice would you give other moms? So this could be for teen moms, single moms, or mothers who co-parent or are in a relationship or married, but just motherhood in general. What advice would you give to other mothers when it comes to um, finances, or when it comes to any other areas of motherhood? Anything you want to share that could help someone else just navigate through this motherhood journey?
Um, the advice I would give is just keeping in your head that knowing that if you have one child to two children, or if you have multiple kids, is that you're responsible for them. It doesn't matter who you had kids with. If they didn't do what they said they was gonna do, if y'all break up, if your parents said they was gonna do this, all the people they're yours, they're your kids. So you just have to accept that they're your kids and you're responsible for them. And you got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, and if you and the advice I would give is just knowing to keep you pushing and to keep you motivated and not lose yourself in it all is just knowing that they didn't ask to be here.
Mm,
So that's just it. They didn't ask to be here, so it's your duty to at least get them to that level of life where they can fend for themselves and do what they need to do. But as a mother, that's the advice I give. Just know that they didn't have to be here. Do what you're supposed to do, and just be. Don't let people tell you what you need to be doing, because
mm,
your web parent, their web parent, it might not work for your household. So
yeah.
just don't worry about other people. if the only time you worry is if you ask for the information. But people just think,
Right.
I would do this much. I would do. You can't worry about that. They not in there with you. They not paying your bills. They not.
Mm-mm.
They don't know your kids' mental. They don't know how they act. They don't know. They don't know what you're dealing with. So you
Yeah.
can't be on the outside telling somebody how to parent, and you don't know their situation in their household. So that's why I said just go hard with it and do what's best for you, and just know that those kids, they didn't ask to be here, and they're yours, so you're just responsible for them. So do what you got to do. Just that's just that on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes, thank you for sharing. That's really good because
thanks.
that's something that even helps me because I used to always be stressed and worried about, not getting help, from the other parent. But then I was just like, but sometimes, you know, you have to remind yourself, like, okay, Cleo, you can't stress yourself out and worry about what they're not doing. So just do what
Right.
you got to do to take care of the child because, like you said, they're your responsibility. Yes, there are the other parents too, or you may wish that other family members, help you out. But then, like you said, this is my child, and I got to take care of it. It's on the mothers. A lot of times, there are some great fathers out there. There are some
Yeah.
great fathers out there
True.
to take care of their kids, but if you're counting in general, most times it's more mothers who are having to have the heavier load or
Yeah.
having the load on their own. So that's why, single motherhood is a bigger topic than, single fatherhood. There's some single fathers out there too
Yeah.
who are holding it
Uh-huh.
down. But, when you think about motherhood, it's like I had to remind myself it doesn't matter who's not doing what. It's still your responsibility. You still
Yeah.
got to get things done, and what's not gonna get done, ain't nobody else gonna do it.
Yeah.
So even nowadays, I still have moments where I'm like, ugh, I wish the other parent would step up and do this and
Yeah.
do that because
Oh
it's
yeah.
like now that they
Yeah.
older, you're thinking about them needing a car or going to college or wanting to start a
Yeah.
business or
Yeah.
whatever, and
It's
you're
like,
like,
man,
dang,
like,
can
are
I
you gonna
get
just step in and
something?
help? You just like I said, you just gotta go on and do it yourself, and just the blessings will flow in, it'll come, and then
That's
eventually the
true.
people that's missing out and not, they gonna eventually come around too. That's their loss, So that's why I
That's
just say
true.
just do your part of it. It's rough, but you usually God don't put too much on you can bear. So you usually get through. I
Ooh,
got through it for 18. My son will be 18 next month. So and it's not
yes.
over with. So but
Yes.
I used to fault everybody and they just but it's just it didn't never really get me nowhere. It just drained me and it just made me so you just got to be like, these are my kids. You popped them out. You kept them.
Hmm.
It's yours. So it'll get done. You'll get the help that you need. You just gotta, and there's nothing wrong with going to seek the help to get the help from the other parent too now. But that just
Yes.
goes along with just take it from us. Choose who you have your kids with wisely. Okay, just
Yes.
try to, but you can't always tell how they'll be when
Right. Yeah.
until you had their kids. But you can try to get as close as good as you can. Yeah. So try to get married. How about that? Now
Right.
you understand why they say get married first. So but
Right.
that don't always work either. But it might help. You just go that
Right.
route first, and then
Right.
I
That's so
don't know.
true. That is so true, Steph. You giving some real good advice, especially when you
Thanks.
said about the blessings flow to you.
Yeah,
What
they
I've
do.
noticed, like over the years, like you said, there's definitely nothing wrong with seeking help, trying to get the help from the other parent. But there's
Hmm.
also times for me when I didn't worry or stress myself about getting the help, and I focused on doing what I got to do. You're right. Like those blessings do flow. Like I remember how when you're in like middle school or high school and kids go on that trip to like DC or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go on that trip when I was younger because it just wasn't
I didn't even.
financially. I couldn't go.
Right.
I didn't
Yeah.
get to go on that trip. But Destiny, she was able to go, and I was just thankful I had the money to pay for her to
Yes.
go. And of course, I would have my moment like, Darren, I wish the other parent could help. But I just focused on doing what I got to do to take care of all the expenses, and it
Yeah.
just flowed
It'll
like
work together.
money.
Yeah. It flows. That's
Yeah,
how
it
it
just
is.
works
Yeah.
out. And it's
Yeah.
like, I just realized when you don't worry and stress about what the other parent is not doing,
Hmm.
you'll be taken care of. Like it's
Every
gonna, it's
time.
like God will make a way for you to be able to have not just enough for what you need, but the stuff that you want to. You just
That's
have
right.
to continue working and doing what you got to do, showing up for your kids, being there for them, and you're not going to be without just because this other parent
That's right.
isn't doing anything. And then, like you said, it's their loss. One day they're going to look up and realize, oh, I should have been there, or I should have done
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
or
They will.
maybe their kids, get to a certain level financially, and then they want to, sometimes kids elevate to a
Yeah.
certain level in life. Then now the parents want to show up because the kids are successful and
That's right.
financially,
Yeah. Yeah.
wealthy, and then now they want to show up and support. But like, where were
Hmm.
you
Where
when
were
I
you?
needed you?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
the kids'
But that's just
decision to
something they
handle
gotta
that. Yeah,
they gotta
yeah,
deal with it on their own. You did your part, and you
yes,
overdid your part. You played both parts.
right,
So you can't think that you won't be blessed for that. So I mean, it just saved me a lot of headache and a lot of beat downs because I did not stress about
yeah,
somebody not doing what they're supposed to do as much. It bothered me, and when they came around, I let them know. But
yeah.
it just ain't worth it. Being bitter and being mean. It's not gonna bring them back. It's not gonna force them. It's not gonna make them take care of the kids more. It really actually push them away. So
Right.
you just gotta do your parent and do your part, and then let God work on them. If they
Ooh,
can't, they can't. It's too much for them anyway. So I just be like, I'm just gonna do
yes,
my part. I push them out. I love them. They're mine. So
yes,
come when you
yes,
can. Your help is
yes.
appreciated. But hey,
Right. If you show up or
yeah,
not, these kids gonna be
they gonna
just
be good.
fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
it.
I think that's something we both have realized, and I think other mothers out there should know that if you have help, great. If you don't, you can still do it. You can still do the best you can. Just don't feel like you have to be this perfect mom. And even if you're a mother out there who feels that it's a struggle right now, you just have to make sure you associate yourself with other people that you know genuinely care about you and support you, and find some other mom friends if you don't have any that you could talk to, get advice from, because it's one thing to get advice from someone who doesn't have kids, but it's more helpful when you can talk to somebody who got real life experience with
Hmm.
being a mom. And not that the person who don't have kids don't have your best interests or can't give you some good advice, they could, but
Hmm.
it's very helpful to be connected with other moms who has been through it too, good and bad, and can be there to support you. So I just want to thank you, Stephanie, for having this conversation with me today. I feel
Of
like
course,
a mother's job is never done. It's
never,
really a 24/7 job where there's no time off
forever. Yeah, it never stops. Yeah,
from being a mom. So I just thank you for being someone I know that I can talk to when it comes
cool.
to being
Yeah,
a mother, and we have our conversations. So, and I look forward to having more conversations, just to give you guys a little uh, you know, early announcement. We're going to have a Mother's Day edition of Financially Free with Cleo, where we're going to have some other moms on here. We're going to be talking about more things as it relates to money and motherhood, and just want to be a support system, inspire and encourage other mothers so we can just continue to be the best we can for
yeah.
our kids, and not just for our own kids, but just other kids that may look up to us. You have a niece, nephews, we have other people that still look up to us, in a motherly way too. So we want to make sure we're just showing up the best for ourselves so we can show up and be great for other people in our lives too.
That's right. Yeah, we just got to get back
Yes.
to that village feeling. Like it take a village to
Yeah.
raise kids. People they don't do that no more. I don't know what we the last of the dying breed, I guess, but it takes a
Yeah.
village, and people really just stepped out of that zone. They don't do that no more. But so some
Right.
people just don't want you telling their kids, just helping. If it's something to make them better, make them be better. Hey, step in and help me. Make America great again. No, I'm
Yeah.
just playing. Take
Right.
that out. But I'm just saying, make our culture and our communities better. If you just
Yeah.
stop overlooking stuff and just help out, man. So I just want to be,
Hmm.
if just use whatever I know to help the young ladies if I can. If you could just dodge or just help you get through it. If you done, some people already done made us, the step into became a teen mom, and you just need
Yeah.
me to kind of help you, tell you how to get through, or just try to avoid it. I can tell you them stories too. But so,
Right.
but yeah, so we
Yes.
got to
So
get back on that.
yeah. Most definitely. So if you're a mother out there, whether if you're a teen mom or you're a single mom, in your adult years, if you are married, you're single, co-parenting, whatever type of motherhood level you're on, if you need support, have questions, need advice, feel free to reach out to us and let us know, and we'll be happy to talk to you and answer any questions that you may have. You can reach out to me on social media at Cleo Yoga Finance, or my email at hello@cleoyogafinance.com. And if anyone, has any questions and want to reach out to you, Stephanie, what's the best way people can connect with you or support you when it comes to these motherhood topics, or if they need notary services?
Yeah, well, the best way is to reach out to me through Facebook. Of course, it's simple Stephanie Holt, and you can take down my email. It's stephanieholt984@gmail.com. Either one of those, you can get to me. I get there the best way I can. And Cleo can find me. I'm not only on her show, I'm her friend. So if you reach out to Cleo, she'll give you my contact info, and we can go from there. So yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here. I always have a lot of fun having these conversations with you.
Absolutely.
And
Me too.
again, yeah, and anyone out there, if you're a mother, just remember, continue doing the best that you can. You're already doing a great job. We're doing the
Mm-hmm.
best we can with what we have. And just to make sure you continue to operate in your life every day with the kids in mind first, do what's best for them. And we just want to make sure they grow up and get out there in the real world and just, be the best that they can be. I know that sounds like an Army PSA. Be the best you can be. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we
Yes.
just want them to be out there and just be a great person, personally and professionally with whatever, career that they choose out there. So all you mothers out there, just do your best, connect with other mothers, support each other, just like we want people to give us value, pour into us. Make sure you find another mom out there that you can support and pour into. And although this is the end of the show, I just want to encourage you to take it one step at a time. And as we continue to be great mothers, let's continue to be great in our lifestyles financially so that we can continue making the best financial decisions for ourselves, for our households, for our families, and for our children. So as you navigate through your financial journey, don't wonder what if, take a risk, and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
You can be financially free with Cleo.